Another week. This is Saints Talk, the official podcast for NewOrleans.Football. This is take 2. I just got in trouble, guys. So if there's a new person hosting the pod next week, just know that it's all love and it's no beef. Make sure you guys are going to NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. And the link will be in the show notes, as always. And pick a subscription. Pick the one that works for you. There's a few different tiers. Film studies, pretty much everything that's going on, game previews, stories during the week, who's playing well, who's playing not. Nick watches the All-22 a little earlier than everyone else, it seems. Make sure you follow in the NewOrleans.Football Twitter account. The handle is NODOT Football. And you can follow Nick at Nick_Underhill. And Instagram. Make sure you guys are following the account on Instagram. And I say that for specifically a reason because he went to Vegas this past weekend. And there were some pictures on there. So it's kind of like a little, I guess, behind the scenes thing. You know, it's pretty cool, right? So follow him there. You can see some of the content that's going out. And it's just a cool little bit of extra content to get your attention. So, and 5-star ratings. 5-star ratings, Apple Podcasts, no conflict of interest. Helps us out a lot. Let's go.
Here we go again.
Hey, get it off, man.
Big company, man.
That's a big company, man. That's a big $2 trillion company.
Oh, man.
What's up, man? What's up? So this week, since the loss this Monday, I keep saying Sunday. I've not been on like social media, blue check, the social media with all the blue checks, but apparently it's getting pretty crazy in there, man. Is the sky falling?
Oh, the streets are hot. The streets are hot, man.
I'm staying inside, though.
I mean, you know, watching the game live, I kind of was much lower coming out of that game on Brees, and I wasn't. You know, after you watch it and you see some of the stuff that happened, take Cools a little bit. You kind of see a way forward. It's not. It wasn't nearly as bad, and I thought it was the opposite. You know, week one, I thought week one was kind of bad live, and then I watched it and I was like, wow, like. This is kind of crazy. And, you know, I think part of it is going into this game that you have a preconceived notion that this guy is teetering on the edge. And then every little thing that goes wrong, you're looking at it like, oh, okay, like this is another sign of it. And, you know, it's confirmation bias. And I think if you can kind of take a step away from that, and I tried to do that when I reviewed the game. And look, I'm not saying everything's, you know, good and fine and dandy and that it's going to be perfect. And, you know, I could still see it going either way, but I don't think that it's at this danger point. You know, there's a lot of things going on in the offense right now. A lot of players aren't in sync with Brees. He's throwing the ball to people that aren't comfortable with the offense. You know, the pass to Josh Hill was, I think, the one that everybody saw and they were like, "Oh my God, like this is." It just
looked so bad on TV.
It did, and
it looked so bad.
Even live, like I'm not tuned into like Josh Hill's route like that. Like I'm not watching for the artistry of a Josh Hill route during a game. Like it's just like, oh, the ball's going to him, and then I look at him, and that's kind of usually how that goes with guys like him. I'm usually locked in on other people or watching the pass rush or seeing how the coverage unfolds. So I didn't see Josh Hill stop his route during the game. But he did. Like he throttled down. He's you know, running a crossing route. He throttles down. Drew throws the ball. Like at the moment he's throttling down to the sideline, and the ball just flies incomplete. So that isn't like a wildly inaccurate pass. There's like a lot of little things like that going on in the game that, you know, cater to it. This opinion
and before you go, just to put like some of it in context, and I'm gonna let you get to your point. Like. Personally, when I saw it like live, like I was like, man, pie's gonna be hot this week. Right? The pie's gonna be hot this week. And I'm like, you know, how are we gonna play this out? And as you were texting me and you were showing me some of the things that was going on, like, you know, you can probably tell I was like, nah, bro, don't try to make this, you know, don't try to be rational with me, right? And the reality is like the film does show something that's not as, you know, catastrophic, I guess is the word would I don't know, be a relevant word as it may have seemed, right? And so But yeah, go ahead. I just remember you trying to talk to me and I didn't want to hear it, but that's what it is.
Well, look, I don't want to be the guy out here saying all the stuff either, because like if it goes the other way, like everyone's going to be like, but like,
Walk that take back.
yeah, that's not what I'm trying to do. Like, it's just intellectually dishonest to allow the conversation to proceed the way it is with these throws being pointed out as the ones that, like, are the signs of the decline. But look, there's still issues. Like, he's not really pushing the ball down the field all that much. I think that's a little bit of a problem, even though I think that's kind of way overblown because that's really not his game. But I mean,
it hasn't been that way for this is the third year. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like there needs to be some, but I don't know. I mean, you do see some throws where there's like hesitancy where there's players coming open down the field and he's not throwing it and he's checking down. But
lack of trust.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe he doesn't think he can get the ball there. Maybe he's seeing it too late. I don't know what the issue is, but those things do exist and they could be problematic later on down the road. But I think if everybody were to get in sync rather, there's like a path forward. Even if this is Brees right here, not throwing the ball down the field, slightly inaccurate on some throws, we aren't absolving him for all inaccurate throws. Like there's still some. He's still not at that, Drew Brees level. He might get there, he might not. But like if everything comes together around him, this version of the quarterback can be good enough. The thing is like when things aren't going well, he needs to be good enough to make things happen and be able to convert passes and move the ball when everything isn't fine and dandy, when the pocket isn't clear, if the spacing's a little bit off on a play and he's got to make an adjustment. Like he needs to be able to do some of that stuff. And it's a precision-based offense, but you got to be able to make some stuff happen off script. And I think right now, the way he's playing, if you can get them off script, it's a problem. And he needs to be better than that. But, as far as like the Drew like flew off the edge or he's coming up on the edge, I don't think it's that drastic yet. I still don't. I still need more time before I'm there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was texting someone and he's probably listening. I don't want to put his name out there, but he was asking my take on like what's going on with him. And I was like, and it was live, right? And I was like, I just think that, there's a lot of different things going on right now. And, I'm not as hot on the subject, not mad, but like, I've walked my take back a little bit because of the evidence on the film, right? And I'm not going to argue with the film because that's
my text during the game were like, is he done?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it looked like, though. That's what was there. But I'm not going to see something on film and still have that same take. That's ridiculous. Right. I don't talk football with people like that because it's just we can't agree on the middle ground, right? If the film is not the middle ground, then okay, we just differ in football. Everybody go their separate ways, right? And so, like I said, my take was a lot hotter until I saw what was really going on in the field, right? And so I think there's a few things going on. I do think the lack of OTAs and minicamp hurt this team. I just do because it's so precision based, and even if you've been in it a while, I just think I think you just got to get going in it. It's one of those things. Like there's some things I do in like my life where I've been doing them for a while, and if I don't do them like for a few months, then I'll forget, and I got to kind of get back going. I think it's kind of similar to that, like being an engineer, right? If you don't use it, you lose it. If I don't do database work for a few months, whatever, I just can't pick it back up. I have to like get get going with it. And I think that's kind of the case with this offense. Like guys are figuring it out. And then he's throwing the ball to players who, and this is kind of going to some of the timing stuff that we were talking about offline. He doesn't throw a lot of passes to, and I'm just going to go through all the receivers, right? Traquan, practice maybe, but just game time reps, he doesn't get a lot of targets. Josh Hill doesn't get a lot of targets. Emmanuel Sanders is still learning the offense. Deontay Harris doesn't get targets. And the guy who gets all the targets got a high ankle sprain. And I think you add that to no preseason, no offseason, a weird training camp, no preseason games, no mini camp. And I'm going on, but I just think you add all of that together with him probably being older and having to get going himself. I just think it's all coming together and it's just not looking good right now. And I think it's going to take about 4 weeks for him to kind of get in rhythm in the offense as a whole.
Yeah, I was talking to someone who plays for another NFC team, and he made this point. And I thought that it was probably correct. He said, if this was a young quarterback who was a gunslinger, like if Mahomes' number one receiver was out and the number two guy they acquired was struggling to pick up the offense, everybody would be talking about lack of weapons and how they're not helping him out. But he's like, because this is an older quarterback, everybody wants to assume that anything that's out of sync with the offense is automatically a sign of decline and coming off the edge. And look, he might be flying off that edge, but
he might be. Yeah, this is not like.
But there's
right.
enough going on right now around it to where it's kind of like you need to see everything come together and then see where he's at. Like I feel like a lot of the conversation right now is conveniently overlooking the fact that a guy that everybody south of, I don't know, wherever, Atlanta, south of Atlanta, can we say? Because there's people that would argue that Julio's the best receiver in the league. But anybody south of Atlanta
they're saying that Mike is the guy.
They'll throw hands over it, like over this guy. But now that he's gone, it's just like the conversation isn't allowing for this massive hole.
It hasn't been mentioned neither. Now that you think about it, and he got like how many targets last year? I mean,
right?
Yeah, then, ridiculous amount of targets.
And then the guy they signed, he doesn't know the offense. Like he might know the offense. He doesn't know the personnel packages by his own admission. Like there's still struggles there. And we'll get to him in a little bit. That was probably my worst take of the offseason, is that I thought he would just simply pick it up because he's played in these high-level offensives. Pittsburgh, Denver with Peyton Manning, Shanahan. Like it's surprising that he's having some issues. But look, I think he's going to get there eventually. But it's just surprising that hasn't happened.
It's a different challenge with this offense. And we'll talk about him. We'll get to him. But, yeah, he's like, man, it's different over here.
Right, and he's not doing anything. And then Traquan Smith, who everybody wanted to replace with Benny Fowler, is now the number one receiver.
Traquan showed us he did his thing this Sunday with Monday, man, whatever. I owe Traquan an apology if he's going to keep this up.
Dude, but like the thing is, like all these guys are gone, and now all of a sudden, though, it's just like you want to like come to a final conclusion. And like I get it, like Drew doesn't look great right now, but there's enough going on around him that I need to see like if all these pieces come together and then that's it. And how like we talked about this all offseason, that Drew's at a place in his career where he needs the help. And again, like we've said this, you've heard me say this before. They paid Mike the money they paid him for a reason, because Drew needs help to be uplifted. They paid Emmanuel Sanders because Drew needs help to uplift himself. They signed Jared Cook to big money because Drew needs help. It's no longer where you go get Lance Moore, Devery Henderson in a 7th round pick. In
Adrian Arrington and Brandon Coleman.
Drew's not making anyone better anymore. Like he's just not. Like Drew's going to be a guy that you can win with. A lot of times he isn't going to be like the reason you win a game. Like he needs other people around him to be the reason. Like he can direct them, but you take the pieces away and like things are going to come out. And the timing isn't there with these other guys. Like the throw to Deontay over the middle was horrific. And perhaps it was an incredibly inaccurate pass, but maybe he just mistimed how fast this guy was and how fast he runs his crossing routes. And, you know, the accuracy changes on when you change the speed profile of the guys coming over the middle, the height profile of the guys coming over the middle. Like there's a lot going on where we just need evidence. And like, I don't want to be out here like sounding like I'm defending this guy, but like the conversation's gotten so far one direction, it needs to come back. Like, again, like I'm very much in the middle of, I could see it going either way at this point, but it's just, I don't think that we're at the edge. I think it's still in the spot where it's like things look really bad and really weird, but like there's a lot of reasons for the weirdness. And I just think that it all needs to be encapsulated, put together, and then once we see all the pieces together, then we'll know.
Yeah, I'm with you. My take is it's on par with theirs, pretty much in parallel. Like my thing is, right, he's been in the league. He got drafted in 2001. Right. And like, we don't need to bury him after 2 games. Right. Like, it's okay to criticize. And I'm not saying, listen, he's an NFL player. He's a public figure. You're open to criticism. That's just the name of the game. That's football. And, you know, it's obviously just confined to his play. And it hasn't been good. It hasn't been great. It hasn't been his standard. Right. And I think that's another thing. Like, it looks so different than what we're used to seeing from him. And we are quick to say that it's him when I think it's him and a lot of other things, right? I mean, no one's playing their best football right now. Let's just be honest, right? And no one's coaching their best football neither, if we want to take it a step further, and that's by their own admission, right? And so I just think that we do need to give it time. I was worried after the first game. I'm worried after the second game, but I think it's rational. The logical thing to do is to say, okay, right, just let's make sure this thing is fully verified before we go and start talking about Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill or whoever the backup is. I have no idea who it is, because I just think like I said, get a guy some time, man. He's been in the league for 19 years. I think this is his 19th year. We don't have to bury him after 2 games.
Right, man. Like I installed the new iOS the other day and it tripped a little bit, and I wasn't like, man, these Apple engineers are trash. You know what I mean? Like I just kind of fiddled with it a little bit and it got going, and it is what it is. Like it's
your audio went out. I didn't hear what you were saying.
Oh man, for real, it's a rush of judgment. And there's a lot going on, and again, I got to keep just saying this over and over, because it's like this isn't like everything's fine and dandy. It's just like chill, like. Things are
it's
weird.
Okay to be concerned. It's okay to be concerned. I think that's fair. I think it's okay to say, man, like, Drew, I need you to, really, it's like training camp. You don't have to do it every day, but you need to let me know that you can still do it, right? I think that he needs to come out and kind of calm things down. I think he needs it for himself, maybe. I mean, I'm pretty sure he knows what's going on, and he knows the talking points. So it's okay to be concerned. It's okay to be wondering, hey, man, is this it for him? I think that's fair. But to just be like, oh, he's washed up, this is the end of it, I think that's a bit far-fetched. It took him a long time to build this building, and I don't think it should come crashing down after 2 games. That's my take on it.
Yeah, the other thing we've been doing is, like, you see him miss a throw, and it's like, oh, he's never missed a throw like that. I've never seen him do it. And like, I said it on the last podcast. Last night I was going through, like, I got my little database of his throws, and I got them, all in there. And
I watched every Drew Brees throw, and then I watched them again. Yeah,
right. But like, I got the little clips and everything, like, so I can, like, just pull. And
you still got that like big stack of paper, like,
yeah, I do.
That's crazy, bro.
But I was going through it, and I was just, I was watching the incompletion. I pulled up all the out routes, and I was looking at all the incompletions, and like, there are throws where they're just wildly out there, and it's just like, all right, like, within context, when things are going well, he misses a throw like that. It's no big deal. But it's like, you start a season, it's 2 bad games in a row. He misses an out route, and it's the end of the world. And you're just like, wow, I've never seen him miss a throw like that. But like, no, you have. Like, you've seen him miss that throw a lot, especially the last couple of years. The out routes, have been going down. And there's some throws he's attempting now that he wasn't throwing before. Like these deeper post routes, like, really aren't a thing that he was doing. He attempted one in this game. Jared Cook, he hesitated, looked back, got caught looking at Drew, and that, like, split second indecision allowed the safety to get a line on it. So there's one there. Like, it's a little misstep by the tight end, and maybe it wouldn't have made a difference, but he didn't run his way through the route, so we don't know what that end point would have been. Like, would he have just cut off the line of the safety or not? It's a mistake. It's a little bit of chemistry issue there.
Yeah.
Or like the Emmanuel Sanders one, he throws the curl, it hits the ground. Drew still has to complete that pass every single time. It's a wide open target. The throw's there. But you watch that same concept, and, I went through and I was looking at, my bunch formation curl targets and everything, and you see them, and this is on the site. You can look at it. There's some of these video clips comparing them. That little quick drop, when Drew hits his back foot, he's throwing it every single time. This time, Emmanuel Sanders wasn't at the right depth. Drew had to hitch back. He holds the ball and then throws it. And just that little bit of taking him out of rhythm causes the incompletion. So it's these little
things. A lot of different things going on. Yeah,
it's a lot of parts. It's a lot of parts. And again, Drew has to hit that throw. The throw to Cook, you might say, hey, he shouldn't be throwing this. There's 3 defensive backs kind of in the area. It's a tough throw. Like, what's Drew doing throwing that ball? But then on the other hand, we're criticizing Drew for not throwing down the field and taking these risks and trying to hit guys in these tight windows. And then when he does, it's a lose-lose situation. The only, like, if he hits that pass, Jared Cook runs through there, catches the ball. That throw is the one where everyone's like, oh, all right, like
he can still,
he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay.
Kind of like the Cook throw from the first game, right? Everyone was looking back at that one. So, yeah, I just think that, it's kind of like everything converging together. Like I said, it doesn't help that he was, at one point he had 1 foot out the door. I mean, that's just a fact. Like, I think Glazer reported that told him that he was gone or something, or was leaning toward it. I forget what the exact reporting was. And he kind of changed. And the Saints were looking at Brady, and he changed his mind. He decided to come back, and Brady's a Buck now, and Drew's a Saint.
Russell Wilson gave him the starting job in the Pro Bowl for a reason.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean
we'll see.
That happened. He's he signed a broadcasting deal.
Yeah.
There's things that Yeah.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
He was if he didn't have a foot out the door, he was looking at the door.
Oh yeah, I mean he knows and he's open about it. Hey man, he said I'm just letting it fly this year, and I'm close to the end in the beginning. Hey, I don't blame him, man, dude. Get your next bag. Like I'm not criticizing him for that. I just think it's all playing into what's going on. Like his play is not the same. Let's just be real. The offense is not looking as good. The receivers are not playing as well. No, the interception, man, I called that interception. I texted you, I said, bro, I saw a picture of him. They showed his face on the sideline, and I was like, oh, he's about to throw an interception. I hate to, I was.
That was terrible. That was a terrible.
That was a bad throw. And when I saw it, I was like,
that was like a 2016, 2015 Drew type interception.
Yeah. That's like the Drew no defense.
There was a game, I think it was in like 14 or 15 against Tampa Bay. Like he threw 2 picks in the same game, like while getting tackled. Like someone was about to sack him, and he just like tries to throw it, and like it happened twice in the same game. Like,
come on, Drew.
We haven't seen one of those like terrible Drew picks in a while, and that was
one of those.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
That was a bad look. So we'll see, man. We'll keep evaluating this thing. We don't need to talk about.
You know why Drew doesn't throw interceptions anymore? Because he doesn't throw the ball down the field. Like,
there you go.
Yeah,
that's real though.
Yeah,
that's real. And I think it's and listen, I think it's that. I think it's the fact that he is probably not. He doesn't need to be. I think it's by design as aggressive as he used to be. Like you're winning.
100%.
Yeah, you got a defense that's going to keep you ahead. There's no need to push the ball downfield. And I think it's lined up right. He probably can't push it downfield like he used to. Don't need to push it downfield like he used to. And the coach is not having him push it downfield like he used to.
His first read on every play for like 4 years has been like a glorified check down.
Yeah. And the guy, and I want to keep going back to like the guy that makes his job as a quarterback like significantly easier is his first game that he played, things didn't go well. That was not a good matchup for him against that defense. He didn't perform well. And this game he wasn't playing. And I think not having Mike makes everything worse. I think everything is worse. And, it's going to be a struggle. So they need to find a way to win, like in spite of, until they get like some reinforcements and guys start to pick up. Both of those things I think have to happen sooner than later. But I just, I remember we were talking after the game about who played well and who didn't. And this second straight game, I know the stats didn't really stand out last game, and you can probably say that for this game, but AK looks like he looks elite. Like he's looking really good right now. And he might be the best player on the team right now. I mean, what's your take? What's your take on his play and where he is and how he's looking on film?
Yeah, I thought he had the stats this game, right? He had like 170 yards from scrimmage, maybe.
Yeah, the 72 rushing. Yeah, that's fair. I'll look it up, but yeah, I think he had 72 rushing on 13 carries, and it was like
90. I think it was like 90 in the passing game.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. He got the stats.
I mean, you can look it up to be sure, but I'm pretty sure it was somewhere in that range. But yeah, look, he looks amazing. He's the best player on the team right now, and I kind of felt like they should have tried to get him the ball a little bit more. Like he was in rhythm, averaging like 7 yards per carry. And I'm not trying to sound like, one of the people on Twitter that always, complains about not having the run pass balance. But this was a game where it was working, and it was kind of like, why would you do anything else? But look, he's by far, I think, the best player on the team right now, either side of the ball. He's really the only guy that's consistently performing. And
right.
This is what you want to see. This is just like early last year where he's just electric when he's healthy and everything's going well for him. And it's never been a matter of talent. It's really not a surprise. He looks a little bit faster, I think, than before. I asked him if he felt faster. He said he did.
Yeah.
And I think you see it. And, I think you're going to keep seeing it. And he's the one guy. He was the one guy in the game on either side of the ball. I think there's maybe 3 guys I would highlight: him, Onyemata, Malcolm.
Malcolm.
Yeah,
Brown.
Yeah, yeah.
Not the
not
other
Jenkins.
Malcolm.
I don't know who else. Like, who else would you even
I
highlight
don't
in
think
this game?
anybody.
Ramczyk and McCoy played good.
McCoy. I guess McCoy had a good game.
Yeah, Traquan played well.
Traquan he had his moments. Drew almost got him killed on one play, but
there's too many Malcolms, man. I straight up had a brain fart like when I was like pushing through the database.
Yeah, Roach.
Roach also played good.
Dude, that's the second straight game where he's just flashing in the run game on these, in his limited snaps.
Like, he took Shy Tuttle's job. And like, Shy Tuttle is a solid player, and
that's
like,
true.
He took his job, and he's showing he deserves it so far. So
yeah, that's a good point. I don't know why I never put that together. In my head I'm saying Tuttle's hurt, and I'm like, no, I think he got hurt in training camp and he didn't get a job back. Basically, right. This kid is better. So, but yeah, I just some of those guys are standing out. It seems like I don't know how to put it, but it's like one of those games where everybody played bad. It's just, it's like the pass rush. I mean, I think the interior. You just mentioned the interior guys: Malcolm Roach, Onyemata, Malcolm Brown. I think Rankins had a couple of plays where he looked like he had an effect on a couple of plays.
He had around stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but everywhere else is like, you look at the guys on the edge, you're not seeing the pressures, you're not seeing Cam Jordan be Cam Jordan. DeMario didn't have like one of those DeMario games that we used to. I think Jenkins, the other Jenkins, like Jackrabbit Jenkins, like, yeah, we do got to start like denoting these Jenkins. Yeah, he kind of had some bad snaps. That last pass interference, he just didn't. I don't know what was going on there. I mean, even
there was no shot at a completion. That was bad.
Yeah,
his coverage was good the whole game too. He was targeted a lot, and he only gave up a couple catches, and that play just undermined the whole entire performance.
Yeah, and the thing about it is like if he catches the ball, it's over regardless. Like, I don't know. It just seems like, and I know it's hard to make those decisions in the moment, but yeah, I didn't get that one. Marshawn gave up a few plays. It just seems like nothing was clicking right. I mean, Marcus Williams missed that one tackle. Played,
they had like 12 missed tackles.
Huh?
They had like 12 missed tackles in this game.
Wow, that many?
At least.
Wow.
It was bad. Everybody had a missed tackle at some point.
The whole defense, man.
The plan on Waller was weird to me too. It was almost as if they didn't have a plan. Yeah, it was kind of like they were just playing their sides wherever he lined up. They were covering him. In the third quarter, you saw a little bit of an adjustment.
They just kept moving different guys on, and I'm like, no, one player is not working.
Like, he was just cooking everybody, and it was like, I don't understand how there was a 3rd and 3 where they just kind of let him sit in the flat, and it was just like, this is the only guy that's taking you guys. I don't know, like, Malcolm Jenkins looked real bad in coverage on him, and against Foster Moreau too. Like, Foster Moreau took him. Like, it was a weird game.
LSU tight end, yeah.
It was a weird game for him, man. He was good in the first game. This game, I don't know. Like, it
was night and day.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just the whole defense had a bad day and he got caught up in it, but I don't know, man. Like, at some point, just put him in the box, let him cover his own and blitz, and maybe try Chauncey on him or something. And Chauncey had a shot at him at the goal line. He got caught sleeping. He gives up the touchdown. I thought he had 2 of those plays last week too that kind of flew under the radar where he kind of got caught slipping in coverage a little bit. But I do think overall, man to man, like, at a certain point, I would have threw him on him, or I would have thrown DeMario on him and just kind of seen how it worked out. And like, I'm not a guy that like is trying to second guess a game plan or anything. It's just like nothing's working. It seems like these 2 guys are you're probably your best bet in coverage on them. Like, just drop them in there and
give it a go.
See what happens. Yeah,
give it a go. I think even I think Sean mentioned it about Waller too. So I mean, I think he said the plan for him wasn't that good, and I mean, they even tried PJ on him. Like, I don't know if PJ is a corner or safety now, but he played him a few snaps, and yeah, I just think that
he got catches on. By my count, I saw someone say 9. By my review, I saw 8 people get a catch on. 8 different people get a catch on. Him get a catch on 8 different people. So yeah, I mean, it was like
every DB on the team.
Every DB, Cam gave one up. Like, it was like literally everybody on the team.
Yeah, I just think that in situations like that, like the Raiders are not loaded with weapons. It's hard to see the best guy beat you. Like I always struggle with that. Like when, like it's okay if you double in Julio. Well, I guess Ridley is like really good now, but if you're playing the Packers, they're coming up this week. Devontae Adams can't go for $150. Like Van Der Scatling and Lazard has to beat you, right? You can't let the number one guy beat you, right? Someone else has to. And just to continuously play man-to-man coverage on a guy who's toasting everybody. Again, I'm not here to bash a game plan, but I think, like I said, even Peyton said, like, I think our plan, the plan for him, like that wasn't ideal. So they'll have to get that cleaned up. I understand trusting your secondary, that being like maybe the strength of your defense. And, I understand the thought process, but I think at some point you got to kind of be willing to switch it up and go with something different.
Yeah, I mean, you almost maybe consider putting Marshawn on him or something, at least on third down.
That's what I was thinking. I didn't want to sound crazy, but yeah.
I mean, that's something like Belichick used to do that all the time. Like he'd move if a team had a tight end that was just killing him in the passing game, he'd move somebody. He'd Aqib Talib or somebody like that can cover bigger receivers. Marshawn can cover bigger receivers.
He can.
So like on third down or something, at least I would have considered putting them in there just because who else is going to beat you? Like that.
Yeah.
Jenkins can handle somebody on the outside. You can put PJ on. I'd rather have PJ on Edwards, right? That's the other receiver, Edwards. I'd rather
that was the rookie. Yeah,
I'd rather have PJ on him than on the guy that's going off for 100 yards.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the rookie wide receiver who's in his second game versus the tight end who's one of the top 5 in the league. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was just a weird game plan. And one thing that was weird is like, I guess I haven't seen it in a while, but I haven't seen this defense just look like they just got out physical like the whole game. It was kind of weird seeing it, right? Because it's weird. Like Saints defense, this used to always happen. This was like, if you're a Saint fan in the junior Gillette years or whatever, or post Gillette or whatever, then yeah, I mean, this is what it was. The Spagnuolo, Joe Vitt coaching season, right? But to see it now with all the talent, it was a little jarring. I will say that I think it was a result of just their snaps. I think the defense ended up playing like 90s. I can look it up, but I think they ended up playing like around – some guys ended up playing like around 90 snaps, and that's way too many. The offense wasn't possessing the ball in the first half, and the defense wasn't getting their offense off of the field, right? He had like these really long drives. I mean, they get the ball at the beginning of the second quarter. Saints don't get the ball until there's 9 minutes left. Their second possession in the second half, it was the fourth quarter. So the defense played way too many snaps, and they just got winded in an off season where guys are probably still working it. I mean, guys are working it. We're in the game shape with the regular off season. And with this off season, I just think that you can't be on the field that many snaps. It just has its toll on you. And I think that's part, not everything, because I think guys didn't play well, but I think that's part of kind of what happened in defense, like when you got into the second half.
Yeah, this game will end up getting blended into that stat about how many games it's been since they've allowed a 100-yard rusher, but I don't think that you feel like you won this game in the trenches. And that stat suggests that like they don't get beat in the trench. Like
they did. They got the Vikings got them in the playoff, and this sometimes it happens, and this is one of them.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
but a lot of stuff that was going wrong though. I do feel like it's fixable. Like I don't think that there's a lot of stuff they were doing to themselves, like the way they lost in this game. I do think,
man.
Yeah, penalties were bad. They'll clean that up. I think
they have to.
I don't think DA is going to get, smoked like this. Yeah.
Right.
And the other thing too is I felt like watching this game, it kind of felt like Peyton was on the other sideline in some aspects. The way Gruden called the game, the way he was able to continuously locate, different matchups and just ruthlessly exploit them. The way he moved players around. There was very much, you could see the influence, from the other sideline, and there were things about it that were mirrored. And, I just think that Gruden did a really good job coaching this game. And there might be a chance that the Raiders are actually a better team than 7-9.
Maybe they are. Yeah. I mean, I just went and looked up this, you was talking about missed tackles, and Yeah, I mean, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, he missed 3 tackles this game. Demario Davis missed 2. I mean, that alone, Anzalone missed 1, Janoris missed 1, Marcus Williams missed 1, Cam Jordan missed 1, Malcolm Jenkins missed 1. So just a lot of things that you just – and Gardner-Johnson is a good tackler. I think that's a fair – I think that's a fair take. So, yeah, it seems like one of those outlier games on the defensive side of the ball.
The way they started to the way they finished, though, was so
there?
weird. I don't understand. Like, it's like they just it's like they lost their collective focus at the same time that like the Raiders just coalesced and like everything came. I don't understand.
Like the energy got low or something. Like they thought they was on the coast to victory. Like if Saints would have scored when they were up, like what was it up? There was it 17-7 or 17-3? I forget what the score was, but like it was looking like if they would have scored that possession, that the game was going to get out of hand. And
I thought it was going to be an ugly game. I thought it was going to be a blowout. Like the way it started.
Yeah,
you're right. They got the ball that time. I think I even tweeted like, if they score here, this is out of hand.
Yeah,
and then like
that's what I was talking about. I didn't want to say that you tweeted it because I didn't want to move my boy out.
Well,
there.
I mean that's how the game was going though. Like if they would have scored there, it would have like how did the Raiders come back?
24-7 or 3 or something. You're absolutely right.
It would have been outrageous, but
yeah, man, that game took a turn, man. But yeah, I just think that guys are going to have to play better. I think that the pass rush. I think that is something that's probably going to have to improve, a little bit, a lot, really. I think that Davenport needs to put some deer antlers on his elbow, whatever it takes to fix it, because I think Cam Jordan has to play better. There's so many things going on right now that I just think that, you kind of just need to take a step back. And look, they're 1-1. Like let's calm down, right? They're 1-1. So it's not, the season hasn't even started yet.
Even if they lose this one, it's going to be 1-2, and like that's really not that big of a deal. But
yeah, it's not ideal, but it's again, you're like right now they're leading the division, so then you're 1 game behind the division lead, if that much, depending on who the Bucks play and if they win or not. So yeah, it's just so early in the season. Like I said, during regular seasons, most teams say like it takes 4 games to get going, right? I mean, that's pretty normal. That's kind of when you hit you're at the beginning of the season, you're just looking to like grind out wins. And as you start to realize what your team is, what their strengths are, every team every year is a different team, then you begin to, your things get tightened, right? Your offense becomes in more sync. You know what your defense is. So I think they're still getting things together. And like I said, with an off season like we just had, I keep going back to that. Maybe it's 6 games this year. I don't know. I guess we're just going to have to see. But it does feel like there's some rust there, especially again going back to those clips that you were sending me about just the offense and how it looks when it's what it looks like when it's supposed to be right. Like soon as Drew hits his back foot, his arm is already the pass is already halfway out of his hand versus him having a hitch. That's a big difference. So I just think a lot of things like that will get cleaned up, and then we'll really know what's going on with the squad this year.
That's all I got.
That's all I got, man. That's all I got. That's all we got today. Listen, guys, make sure you are on NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. Link is in the show notes as always. Pick a tier. Pick which one works best for you. The film study that Nick spoke about is on the site, so go check that out because it kind of can give you a better idea about what happened in this game. It's not sugarcoating it; it's just saying what really happened, right? And that's what we're here for. That's what Nick is here for. So make sure you guys go there, check it out, subscribe. Make sure you follow the NewOrleans.Football Twitter account, NODOT-Football. And make sure you guys check them out on Instagram, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show. You guys can also follow me on Twitter at Kevin Walsh Jr. You guys stay up. It's not the end of the world. We're going to see how this thing plays out and just keep pushing. So with that said, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week. We out.